It's time to go beyond the headlines, cause I don't put in overtime just so I can headline. Okay, now it's Fox Sports, I'm live with Renee. Going hard every day, sports rapping every play. Different segments for your favorites, coming at you daily with positive vibes, yeah, we some game changers. Basketball, football, soccer, with different interviews, you never know who may pop up. Listen, only on Beyond the Headlines, this is Beyond the Headlines. Only on Beyond the Headlines, this is Beyond the Headlines. Only on Beyond the Headlines, this is Beyond the Headlines with Renee Washington.
One of the biggest topics of the week across all sports, Andrew Luck announced his retirement. So joining me on Beyond the Headlines this week to get into that and much more, from FS1, it's Mark Gunnels out on the West Coast. Mark, thank you for joining us on the show this week, and welcome.
Hey, no problem. Anytime, and I appreciate you having me. It's a pleasure.
Of course. Let's get into what is going on around the NFL. So we saw Saturday night, Andrew Luck announced his retirement at 29 years old. He is tired of dealing with the injuries and the way that it affects his life, and he feels like he hasn't been able to live the life he wants to, and it's taken the joy out of the game. So what were your initial thoughts when you saw the news? I heard it actually from my brother and then saw it all over trending across Twitter. When you first got the news, what was your initial thought?
Well, I think my initial thoughts were kind of like everybody else, just shocked, stunned, had to double check and make sure that I was reading the right headline. Actually, I'm in a group chat with my friends, and somebody sent the Adam Schefter tweet in the group chat, and I just, you see the tweet on the text, and you think, oh, okay, it's probably a fake page or something. And I actually clicked on it, and it's the verified Adam Schefter has like 10,000 retweets in 1 minute. I'm like, wow, this is crazy. So, yeah, just shocked. I mean, I'm still kind of shocked to this moment. I don't think it hasn't really sunk in yet until I see week 1 and he's not starting, and it's Jacoby Brissett.
Absolutely, and that's the thing. I mean, it's preseason, and we're looking at teams getting ready to take the field, trying to figure out, who's going to step into what roles, how teams are going to be looking, and then all of a sudden this bomb drops. But when you look back at Andrew Luck's career, I mean, his first 3 seasons, he didn't miss a single game. 2015, he missed 9 games with his injured shoulder, lacerated kidney, and a partially torn abdominal muscle. 2016, he played, but he openly was admitting he was in pain. Then missed all of 2017, had a number of surgeries, and last in 2018, which was one of his most productive seasons, but then in the offseason, he gets hurt again. So injuries are a big part of it, and the craziest thing of all of this, aside from the fact that he did announce his retirement, one of the most shocking things was the response people had, including Colts fans booing him as he left the field. I mean, what are your thoughts on the fact that here's a man that has been through a lot of pain, lacerated kidneys, torn abdominal muscles, surgery after surgery, has literally did all he can to stay healthy, and his own fan base is booing him?
I don't blame the fans for booing.
Really?
No, not at all, because fans are emotional. They're built off emotion. I don't expect fans to react how me and you would react, because we're in the media. We're not supposed to react off of emotion. We're supposed to just give you the facts and be very non-biased. Fans are built on emotion. Just think about it. I mean, you're a fan. You're there. It's late in the game. You're probably a few beers in. You see Andrew Luck on the sideline. You get a text on your phone talking about he's retired. While you're looking at him, like you're literally looking at him, and
true. He was passing around too.
Yeah, and like your franchise quarterback, and he's retiring while he's on the sideline at the very moment you're watching him on the sideline. So I mean, that's a very emotional, rare moment. I mean, I think it's easy for fans to say on Twitter that they shouldn't have booed him. They're very classless, but put yourself in that situation. I mean, I'm from Kansas City, and I think my fans probably would have booed Mahomes if that would have happened. Like, Are you like? It's not like the thing is they're not booing the person per se; they're booing the situation. I'm sure after the fact, when they got more details and they saw his press conference, they regretted that booing at that moment. But that's a very raw moment. I mean, a lot of fans aren't rational, so they're not thinking about all the stuff he has to go through in that moment. They're like, what? You're retiring? Like, it's the middle of a preseason game. Like, what is going on right now? Like, that's a lot to take in for a fan. I mean, I think it's very unfair for people to rip them. I mean, like I said, I think they went in their car afterwards, and like a couple of days later, even like now, I think they probably regret doing that. But in that moment, it's hard for me to like say they're classless.
Yeah, that's a great point you make. I mean, when you see him, he's there at the game. He's warming up at the sideline. It's preseason. It's not the off season. And here he was last year, a Pro Bowler. He won Comeback Player of the Year. He led the Colts to the second round of the playoffs. You're thinking, like, okay, although was hurt in the off season, he'll be back. And then to find out not only will he not be back this season, but he's done for good, that is tough. And I know, personally, like, I actually gave up my soccer career nowhere near the level of Andrew Luck, of course, in the NFL. But when I stopped playing at the professional level, it was because I was tired of dealing with injuries. And I know Des Bryant had a comment saying, it's not an easy decision and it's disrespectful. And Martellus Bennett was also saying, most people take off for a week with a cold. And we don't look at football players as being human. And we know there have been a number of guys over the years. Now we have Andrew Luck joining the list with players like Jim Brown and Gronkowski even, who retired at 31, 29, 30 years old because of injuries, So I don't know. Where do we draw? I guess my question is, where do we draw the line between separating, the football? Yes, your football player, your franchise player is supposed to be helping you win, but they're still human at the end of the day. They still deal with pain and stuff like that and get tired of dealing with pain just like anybody else. Where do we draw the line?
You talking about as far as, like, fans and players?
Yeah, I mean, I know, but we're passionate fans. I know I'm a very passionate fan. I hated seeing Carson Wentz go down. I'm an Eagles fan. But at the end of the day, they can't control getting injured, and they have to do what's best for their body. So I guess.
Yeah, no, I don't.
No,
sorry, not to cut you off, but.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't think fans are like mad at guys when they just can't stay healthy because they know it's beyond their control. They can't control that. And just for this particular situation, though, I feel like it's unfair to bash them because we've never seen a situation where you get alert on your phone that your franchise player is retiring while you're literally watching him on the sideline. Like, normally that stuff happens before a game or after a game, a week later, not during the game. Like, the optics of that were just very bad. And obviously that's not Adam Schefter's job to care about breaking news during the game, but ideally you would not want that to happen during that moment. It was just a bad timing.
Yeah. Allegedly it was not supposed to get out at that point, but I guess somehow it got to Adam Schefter, and I think Andrew Luck even was mentioning that he wanted to do it at a later time. But, hey, it's out now. Cat's out of the bag. And there's no taking it back. Once it's tweeted once, we all know the way the Twitter world works specifically and just social media in general, there's no way. I know, like, I was home with my family, and my brother went running through the house, like, telling everybody, like, guess what just happened? And that's it. It's a wrap. You can't take that back.
Yeah.
You got it in the group thread, and everybody knew. There's no taking it back. So
no taking it back
crazy.
At all.
No. But, hey, best of luck to the Colts moving forward. I mean, got to keep moving. Got to figure it out. But also in the NFL, and this has been dying down now, but I did want to talk about it briefly just to get your perspective on it. We saw Rock Nation and Jay-Z partner with the NFL. People also went crazy over that. And naturally there's going to be mixed emotions because it's Jay-Z, who's obviously a huge name, and a lot of people idolize him as a musician and as a businessman, partnering with Roger Goodell in the NFL. Do you think Jay-Z is a sellout for his partnership? What are your thoughts before I share mine?
Not at all. He's definitely not a sellout. I mean, look at his track record. This guy has done a lot for social justice. I mean, he's got people out of jail. He's teamed up with Meek Mill to try to eliminate old retired laws. The guy is he basically produced a miniseries of Trayvon Martin and other guys that have been faced against police brutality and just injustice in general. So, no, it's definitely not a sellout because at the end of the day, if you want change, you need somebody in the door that has a different perspective. How are things going to change if it's the same people in the room? You need somebody in there to shake it up. So the fact that he's, like, getting killed for this is just ridiculous to me because people say they won't change, but then when somebody actually tries to make a change, they call it a sellout or get mad. Like, it makes no sense to me. Like, and especially looking at his track record, I could see maybe if this guy hasn't had a a history of doing things for the community and trying to improve stuff, but he has an excellent track record of doing these things. And he's a guy from the hood in New York, and he should be able to, people should feel like they can relate to him in a way because the way he grew up. So I think it's asinine that people are mad at him. I really do.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. I mean, Jay-Z has notoriously been working day in and day out, and he even said, I could tell you exactly what I did over the last 365 days. Can you do the same? Like, he has been heavily involved in social justice initiatives, and that's his thing. He wants to work from the inside out to make change in the NFL, and he even had a quote where he was like, I'm not the commissioner yet. Like, we all know he wants to be an owner. We all know he wants to be more than just, he's not a talking head or a figurehead. He's someone that wants to be making decisions with a seat at the table. So I was very taken back by everyone's responses, because I do think that, as you mentioned, like, if you want change to happen at the higher ups, you need to have diversity at the higher up. It can't all be, just to be blunt, white men, old white men. You need to have females in there. You need to have different races, different backgrounds, and Jay-Z's kind of a step in the right direction for that. But I'm going to I take it a step farther, because I just got into the conversation with someone. I don't like to talk politics, but I made a post on social media, and someone was like, why would we vote? It's that same mindset that we have to sit back, and if I'm upset with something, I can't speak out on it, because then I'm a sellout. But no, you have to get involved. You have to vote to make change. You have to have a seat at the table to make change. So I don't think it's a sellout at all. But do you think the league now moves in a direction? I mean, Jay-Z's also involved with not only the business side, but entertainment, such as the halftime show for the Super Bowl. You think this is now a step in the right direction for the NFL, a much-needed step in the right direction towards being more inclusive and I guess, being less, I don't even know the right, polarizing with social justice issues, such as Colin Kaepernick, such as kneeling versus not kneeling? Do you think this is a step towards a change in general?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the NFL knows what they're doing. I don't necessarily trust the NFL, but I do think that they realize having a guy of Jay-Z's stature and his cultural impact with them will make them look better. But I just hope their intentions are genuine with him. But the thing is, Jay-Z is so smart and savvy. I just can't see him going into a situation where he knows that he's going to be like used as like a pawn, basically. Okay, we got Jay-Z. Okay, so you guys can chill on us now, because we got one of your guys. You know what I'm saying?
We got our token black guy at the table.
Yeah, but I think he's too savvy for that to go through. And if he feels that type of way, he'll just get out of it. Like, he's not gonna stay in a situation where he feels like he's used as a token. Like, he's Jay-Z, he's a billionaire. Like, he doesn't need them. He said, you guys need me.
I had to openly say that. So, I mean, and I agree with that. So, and like you said about when he said I'm not the commissioner yet, I mean, that's crazy, because we look at Jay-Z, we think like Jay-Z's like, he's older, but he's only 49. And Roger Goodell is 60. And that's actually kind of young for a commissioner. Normally they're like 70 and up. So Jay-Z has plenty of time to get his foot deeper in the door in the NFL at 49 years old. I mean, that's still really, really young. Yeah. Wouldn't that be something? Jay-Z the commissioner. That would be something else.
Hey, give him 10, 15 years.
I'd love it. I'd love it. It's a whole change.
Yeah, and also about the entertainment part. I mean, that's a given. I think that's going to happen instantly. Like, this first Super Bowl, it's in Miami too, so I wouldn't be surprised if like Rick Ross or somebody's performing at halftime, a Miami native. Like, it's definitely going to be crazy.
Yeah, we have seen some more questionable halftime performances. I know people may have liked like Adam Levine and different people, but it's a Super Bowl. You want to have a halftime performance that has you up dancing. I think back on halftime performances, like, not to change topics too much, but like Beyonce had one, Michael Jackson had one, where it was like a party at halftime. Like, everybody, wherever you're watching the game, everybody's up dancing. You're not just waiting. Halftime's not a bathroom break.
Right.
That had to be the time. So I hope so, because honestly, I hope to be in Miami for the Super Bowl, and I'm hoping that we can turn this around and have a better halftime show.
For sure. It really stuck with me when they had the one in Atlanta a couple years ago, and there was, like, nobody that was representing Atlanta really performing. Like, you could have had the Migos. You could have had Future. Like, you had so many options in Atlanta, and they didn't have none of them perform.
Exactly. That just shows how disconnected the halftime shows really are, because when you look at, like, the NBA All-Star Weekend, since they always have a big-time performer for that.
Oh, man. Oh,
I mean, you look at Meek Mill and J. Cole performing. Like, it's always someone that's relevant, that has good music out, especially that's connected to the area that it's in. Like, those are all things you're looking for. And then you want it to be someone that's going to put on a show, not just come out there and sing you to sleep or perform put you to sleep.
Right.
So if nothing else, that's a step in the right direction for sure.
Definitely.
All right, so then we talk about injuries. We talk about social justice initiatives and the partnership with Jay-Z. What changes, and of course you are not an NFL front office member or involved in the, behind the scenes, but putting your NFL hat on, in order for the league to be to a point, I feel like the NBA is so much more advanced. I'm gonna just say it. I just feel like they're so much farther with being connected to all different types of demographics, being relatable, having different personalities that all audiences can relate to in some way. And then, of course, when we talk about the halftime show, that's real. The All-Star Weekend versus the Super Bowl halftime show and the Super Bowl, events around it. The NBA does a much better job with Adam Silver in connecting to all different types of initiatives and communities. The NFL is behind. So what has to happen to keep players on the field from getting injured and to keep the league connected to the community? If you are, I'm not going to say Roger Goodell, you're Joe Schmo. What needs to happen to bridge that gap and be more like what the NBA is doing? Putting you on the spot.
Well, yeah, that's a tough one. I wasn't expecting that. As far as I think the NFL is actually slowly getting better in some aspects, especially as far as player safety. They've done a really good job as far as that goes, to the point where people are even saying the NFL is, like, too soft now, So
yeah, this is true.
I think player safety has been a big improvement as far as, like, helmet to helmet, you having better helmets, coughing, and Antonio Brown. Get your act together. They actually have better helmets now. But as far as, like, off the field stuff, player empowerment, they're definitely behind in that aspect. But it's also hard because you got to realize in football, you don't really see guys' faces. They have helmets, pads on, so it's kind of hard to really promote the player as much. And I think they're trying to do that. I mean, look at Patrick Mahomes. He's, like, on every commercial now. Obviously, Tom Brady through the years. I think they're getting better, though, as far as their, like I said, player empowerment, player movement, too, because now you see players starting to push back now against teams. Like, look at Le'Veon Bell last year. He fouled a whole year. Like, that's unheard of. Like, Ezekiel Elliott right now. Dak Prescott trying to get new deals. So I think players are kind of taking the NBA model that they see, because they're jealous of NBA players. And you see NFL players tweet all the time talking about how they want to be an NBA player, or they're envious of NBA players because they have all that player empowerment and player movement. So I think we're starting to slowly see that shift now, and owners and GMs are getting a little worried because players are starting to realize their power and their influence. And don't get it twisted. Like, these teams want to win Super Bowls. They want to win. Like, that creates more money not only for their franchise but them as individuals. So teams want to win, and that's why I think you're going to see, like, an example, like Zeke is going to get paid. Regardless of what Jerry Jones is trying to joke about right now, trust me, Zeke is going to get a big bag before the season starts because they know they can't win without him. I think that's another example of player empowerment. And, yeah, so I think we're getting there. But like I said, it's never going to be like the NBA as far as they're promoting their players, because it's just the face thing. Like, you see NBA players' faces. Like, there's no helmet. There's no extra gear. It's just them with the jersey and shorts on. They're way more marketable just off of that simple fact.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I think that's the biggest thing that really keeps the NFL behind is the fact that you can look at an NBA team. You can just name an NBA team and honestly name a handful of players, whether it's guys that are starting or guys off the bench. You can't always say that for the NFL. You know, of course there are way more players on a team to begin with, which also makes it hard. But you can't name, you know, guy number 9, 10, 11 all the time because you just don't know who they are. You know, you just know their number, big number 91 for the Eagles. Maybe you don't actually know who that is. You know, you can't always say, hey, that's Jason Peters or that's whoever. But that is very tough. I get that. So, all right, you put on your GM owner hat, did well with that. Where can people follow you? Where can people follow you on social media?
You put me on the spot there.
I did. You know, I got to keep you on your toes a little bit. Can't always be predictable questions.
I know. I respect it. I respect it.
You handled it well. So where can we follow you on social media?
Yeah, so you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, whatever, Facebook, LinkedIn, all Mark Gunnels. To be specific, Twitter and Instagram, Mark A. Gunnels, MarkAGunnels.
Yeah, I never told you my dad and my brother's names they're Mark. Same spelling.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
Oh, wow. Okay. They must be cool.
I know. Yeah, it's a cool name. You're repping it well.
Thank you. I try.
Yes. Well, thank you for joining us on Beyond the Headlines this week. It's been a pleasure just to get to talk about some things. You know, of course, we're anxiously waiting for the start of we're in the season technically, but it's preseason. It's not the same. We're all waiting for week 1, so it's not the same at all.
Right.
So thank you so much for chatting with me on what's been going on during preseason so far. I appreciate you.
Oh, thank you so much, and you got to have me back on during the season, too.
Of course.